Hi, I am Ava, your personal diet coach, and today I will help you explore renal diets. A renal diet, specifically designed for patients with chronic kidney disease, CKD, focuses on managing nutrient intake to reduce the workload on the kidneys and prevent further damage. A renal diet becomes increasingly important as CKD progresses, with mandatory dietary modifications typically starting at stage 3B to manage symptoms and slow disease progression. In stages 4 and 5, strict adherence to a renal diet is essential to control biochemical imbalances and prepare for or manage dialysis. Let us explore the key pillars of renal diet and the scientific evidence to support them. Controlled protein intake. Why it matters. Protein metabolism produces waste products that the kidneys must filter. In CKD, reducing protein intake helps minimize the buildup of urea and other nitrogenous wastes, easing the kidney's burden. How to implement moderate protein intake according to the stage of CKD. This typically involves limiting high-protein foods such as red meat, poultry, and fish, and opting for plant-based proteins like beans and legumes in moderation. Sodium restriction. Why it matters. Excess sodium can increase blood pressure and lead to fluid retention, both of which exacerbate kidney damage and contribute to the progression of CKD. How to implement. Limit sodium intake to 1,500 to 2,300 milligrams per day. Avoid processed foods, canned soups, and salty snacks. Opt for fresh or frozen vegetables instead of canned, and use herbs and spices for seasoning instead of salt. Potassium management. Why it matters. The kidneys regulate potassium levels in the blood, and impaired kidney function can lead to dangerously high potassium levels. Hyperkalemia, affecting heart rhythm and muscle function. How to implement. Monitor potassium intake based on individual blood levels. Limit high potassium foods such as bananas, oranges, potatoes, tomatoes, and spinach. Include low potassium alternatives like apples, berries, cauliflower, and lettuce. Phosphorus restriction. Why it matters. Damaged kidneys cannot effectively filter phosphorus, leading to elevated levels in the blood. This can cause bone and cardiovascular problems due to calcium imbalance. How to implement. Limit phosphorus intake by avoiding high phosphorus foods such as dairy products, nuts, seeds, beans, whole grains, and colas. Opt for low phosphorus alternatives like rice milk, not enriched, white bread, and pasta. Fluid management. Why it matters. As kidney function declines, the ability to balance fluids is compromised, leading to potential fluid overload, swelling, and high blood pressure. How to implement. Monitor fluid intake according to the stage of CKD and urine output. This includes all liquids and foods with high water content, like soups, ice cream, and fruits such as watermelon. Use strategies like taking small sips throughout the day, chewing ice chips, and avoiding high sodium foods to manage thirst. Adequate caloric intake. Why it matters. Patients with CKD often need to balance their diet restrictions with sufficient calorie intake to prevent malnutrition and muscle wasting, particularly if protein intake is reduced. How to implement. Use healthy fats like olive oil and avocado, and simple carbohydrates like white rice or white bread to increase caloric intake without adding excess protein, sodium, potassium, or phosphorus. As you can see, diet plays a crucial role in managing CKD successfully. This is where I come in. When you start working with me as your renal diet coach, I can guide you on every meal and be readily available any time of the day to answer your questions about what to eat and what to avoid. I also have thousands of renal-friendly recipes for you to explore new foods without feeling restricted. Just visit ava.neurons.ai and get started today. All the best.